I'm Zuki. I'm a Ruby medium, one trick. I play the finals at a comp level and I do alright. I hit a sub goal for a medium tier list. This video will be split into two parts. The first part is the weapons, and then the second parts will be the specializations and gadgets. And it's just my personal rankings on the weapons, and each each of them I have thoughts about. So first off, riot shield's casual. It has a very bulky hitbox. If I see a riot shield, I just aim at the left side and usually bullets will hit them. If they're smart, then they'll rotate their body around when I try to shoot them, and I'll have to get around that. But like they're hard to kill, but you usually just pad around them or team shot them, and they're not that much of a problem. Revolver is viable. Uh, it's got pretty much the same TTKs as a rifle, but the thing that makes it shine is the headshot multiplier. Uh, by default, weapons have a 1.5 crit multiplier. The revolver has a 2x multiplier. This makes up for its inconsistency with hitting shots compared to a rifle, and also the low damage in a mag. Uh, if a revolver hits a headshot in a duel, you have to back away from it. Otherwise, they're likely going to kill you. But also sometimes they whiff shots on you, and it's a very easy kill that you can clean up on them. Uh, the pike is a little bit more of a consistent version of the revolver. The pike is not as viable up close. The hipfire is more inaccurate, but it shoots faster and it's got more damage in a mag. It's much better for poking at a distance. It's got a crazy good TTK on the lights, and it can be oppressive at range sometimes. But the weakness that it has is it's not good up close. And many fights come down to being up close in order to clean up a kill, and not having that power makes you miss out on a lot. Similarly, the repeater also has this at a worse level because it's a lower TTK. It can 2-tap lights, 3-shot mediums, or like 4-shot heavies. So it's very pokey, but it's easy to miss up close, and often when you're up close, it's kill or be killed. And that inconsistency brings both of these weapons, like, that makes you not want to use them compared to a rifle where you can miss a little, but if you hit most of your shots, you're fine. The model is also, it can be viable. It doesn't have the damage breakpoints that it had before with the nerfs that it got in season 4 and 5. It still is viable though. It could do good damage at a distance, which is unusual for shotguns. That was always its niche. It's a ranged shotgun. Um, but it doesn't do that much damage. It doesn't have high enough DPS to justify using it though, compared to a rifle or the service. Uh, the FCAR is viable. It's one of the best rifles in the game, but the DPS is also quite low. If it's an FCAR versus an XP light, usually the XP wins simply because the XP shreds much more. It has a higher DPS. And also the light will usually get the first shot with invis, or if they have dash, then they're extremely hard to hit. And they just use both of those, like either of those, to their advantage, and usually it's hard to duel light. But in a direct fight, you should be winning as long as you're hitting your shots. You just don't see it very much though, because uh you good lights aren't going to let you duel with a rifle. Um, it is a good viable weapon though. It's but the rifle playstyle for a medium isn't as good at a high level. And EU people will use rifles more than NA. NA is shotgun dominated, while EU is more rifles. Um, FAMAS is, for the most part, a better version than the FCAR. It's got more damage in the mag, more damage per bullet. And you don't have to be on target 100% of the time. You only have to be on target for the bursts. It's sometimes got the inconsistency issue of the pike and the repeater, where if you're off target as the shots go off, then you miss out on a lot of damage. But the being a burst weapon, like shooting 3 shots in an instance can sometimes help you with that. Sometimes you just need to hit one bullet. You don't need to hit the whole burst in order to finish off a person, and that's good enough. Uh, Dual blades are also more of a casual weapon. There are there might be a few people that can use them decently in ranks, but it's pretty easy to get around. You just kite the dual blades, or you pat around them, or if you're light, you run away. It's very hard to use a melee weapon. They're more of an annoyance than an actual problem. Same thing with CL40. A CL40 direct hit is about 100 damage, which is actually pretty good, but it's a projectile, so it's hard to hit it consistently, and also um, people can just take height on you, and you won't be able to do anything. There's ways around it, but it's like melee weapons, more of an annoyance. Serb is S tier. Um, it has the burn damage, which can help it a lot. It also does a lot of damage in a meat shot. You can one shot a light and then they'll burn to death. You can two shot a medium. You can three shot a heavy. Um, the burn damage helps finish off a lot of kills. It's got forgiveness. You can go for long shots on a medium and still kill them within 3 shots, which is what I often do. And the the AK is viable. It's more or less a worse version of the FCAR. It's got less range. The recoil is a little harder. It does have more damage in a mag, but that doesn't matter that much. It's only 70 more damage in a mag compared to FCAR, so it's not worth the range or the recoil trade-off. Um, and you typically see riflers use the FAMAS or the FCAR more, or the pike if they want to play long range angles. Now moving on to the gadgets and specializations. I'll do the specializations first. Heals are viable. They require a good playstyle in order to maximize them, but they've been nerfed so much over time that it's usually not worth it. And also, DMAT is so good that you really have to be good with heals in order to justify using it. Yeah, the heal playstyle is you're typically always in a fight. Like you can shoot, take some damage. If you're one, you can still heal by the side, and as long as you don't get killed, then you can pump out your healing, be at no risk of yourself, and it is major value in a fight. But the thing is that the heal beam is visible. If they know you're one and they see a heal beam in the corner, they're probably just going to demat straight towards that and finish you off. Um, its heals are also only 30 health a seconds, which is it is good. Like you can if your heal target can make themselves hard to kill by running around, and it might be hard for enemies to out DPS that, even though it's only 30 health a seconds. It's still just the fact that a good team can overwhelm you to the point where heals are not worth it, and it's better for you to play your own life and play your own damage rather than going for heals. Uh, it just depends on the situation. Most of the time, heals are not good, but they're consistent with getting good value. Turrets are casual. You can just goo them off or shoot them off or avoid them. The best thing that they do is that they reset your regen, which is annoying, but you can just play around it, and you give up a lot by using this compared to the other options. DMAT is S tier, because it can do a lot and it's very powerful, which is a general statement. But say someone's one, you can DMAT drill straight towards them. Say you want to manipulate the cash out, you can move it to a better spot. You can stall with the cash out, which is very powerful. Um, you can grab bodies for resets. You can make yourself extremely hard to kill with DMAT to the point where you need another DMAT in order to chase that person. You can kidnap enemies for aggression. You can kidnap your teammates to help kite them away and funnel the enemies into an undesirable spot where they might not want to push that. It's got so many options, and it's so good that the other specializations are not worth using at a high level. And it's also like it's simply more fun to use it. It does tend to be seen as an annoyance by others. Like you shoot a medium, then they demat into a building, and there's no chasing that, so you just have to forget about them until they show up again. Uh, and then as for gadgets, smokes on medium are kind of casual. They can be good for steals or getting reses, but usually if there's a light in the lobby, they're using thermal, and lights use thermal because they want to see other lights with invis, or they want to see through smokes because smoke steals are a problem sometimes. Pyro grenades are a casual thing. They've got a very niche use of resetting regen or burning goo or burning gas, but the other options are so good that it's not really worth using. Um, Goo grenades are S tier, especially for medium. Like goo grenades combined with DMAT, if you use them properly, you can make yourself extremely hard to kill. But it's also got so many other uses. You can use goos to block line of sight for cover. You can give yourself cover for a res. Um, you can give your team an off angle, like maybe at the side of a building where no one would expect you to be. You can goo a cash out and steal by the side to block line of sight, and any enemies are forced to push that goo and put themselves at risk as you steal. You can also goo stall, where you put goo at the side of an enemy that's stealing, and that stops the steal entirely. You don't have to kill them. You're also invincible inside that goo until it breaks away. Um, the fact that you get 2 charges also makes it incredibly good. Uh, and it's the potential with goo is incredibly good, and especially if you're on a serve where you put yourselves in risky situations, you simply you really want to use it and abuse it. Gas grenades are casual. There's not much of a point to use them when you have gas mines as a thing. Frag grenades are viable. They still do a good amount of damage, but you only have 1 charge, and I believe it's a 20-second cooldown. They're not as spammable as they were compared to having 2 charges. They still have potential, but you're giving up other stuff, depending on your loadout by using them. Um, Flashbangs are more casual. You can usually just side peek, or looking away might decrease the flash. I'm not sure about that, but they're not much of a problem. They're more of an annoyance than anything. They could be good if you're on melee or shotguns and you want to flash someone and then rush them. But but the goo is usually better. Like you could get yourself in a risky situation and then get away with goo. Uh, proximity proximity sensor is also pretty casual. There's not really much of a point to use them unless the enemies are using smokes or you don't have good awareness. Zip is viable. It's certainly more viable in knockout rounds compared to finals because you need to get around the map quick. But the current meta is usually a dash light, and you can combine a light dashing into a pad, and then they gateway your team across the map, which makes the zips kind of obsolete. They're also more vulnerable not on goo. Uh, Pads are S tier. You can do a lot with pads. You can do pad pushes where an entire team takes a pad on an enemy, which is hard to predict sometimes, and it forces a close range fight. Um, you can use pads to get away. You can use pads to move the cash out. You can use them to kite melee players or to get distance. You can place pads under defib holograms to basically guarantee their death after they take it. Um, they're very pads are pretty much a must pick, and I don't see them getting a nerf anytime soon. Glitch mines are viable. Their best use is shutting down heavy with mesh and SA, but the current meta with heavies they're using minigun like a turret, and they're just holding space down rather than taking space, and Glitch mines don't really counter a minigun well, but they are still good though. They can counter defibs. They can counter a dash light. You can place a glitch mine above a cash out and then demat it down to glitch everyone on there to prevent their abilities. It still has like a good use, and the range is quite ridiculous, but they're not as good compared to other options. Um, Gas mines, uh, they they were quite they're seen a bit by Lasagna's team in Apes Tourney, uh, to limit Halto's finest options with stealing the point. Usually the way cash out is that a team can force the point, which puts pressure on the defending team. Because a steal is only 7 seconds, and once that goes off, then they have to steal it again. Um, but if the point is gas, then they can't do much unless they have a serb to burn it or pyro grenades. But it's usually just going to be a serb or a fire barrel. Um, they are good for stalling a cash out, but there's ways around it, and it depends on your team's comp. Like if you don't have a heavy with C4, you probably want gas mines. Um, and if you're a rifle medium, you have less of a case to make for goo grenades because you're not putting yourself in in those situations, and you can simply use gas mines instead. Because the whole goal of the game is to win your cash out, and if it's gas, that makes it quite easier. So they're viable, but you don't see as many people using it, because like goo is so good. Explosive mines are more of a casual thing. Once the team realizes that someone is using mines, they're going to be a little more careful, and they're kind of seen as an annoyance. They do trigger quite easily though, because a lot of the time when you're running through a building, you're searching for someone to shoot. You're not looking at the floor. There is a slight bit of tech where you can hide a mine under a fire barrel, and then they walk into that barrel and then they explode. It's kind of like a nuke, but the chances of that happening, you're giving up that opportunity for another gadget. Um, or you're giving up the other gadgets for explosive mines, which are not as good. Defib is S tier. Being able to res someone in the middle of a fight it creates a lot of pressure on the enemy. Uh, Maybe you're one and you have a defib, you could simply do a suicide fib, which, yeah, it sucks that you died, but now your teammate's back at half health and now they have to be killed instead. You can drag a body, like you can snag a body with DMAT, kite into somewhere in a building and then get the defib. They're going to hear you and your teammates at half health, but you're ready to fight and so are they. And getting that reset quickly is very valuable. Um, Reses are only 4 seconds, and like doing a manual res, it has its place. There's times where you might want to do a manual instead of a defib, but having a defib by default is makes it incredibly it's incredibly good, and you don't ever want to give it up, unless you're in TDM or something. Reshaper is viable. The decrease in charges from 3 to 2 did hurt it a little bit. And it's got a very niche use of clearing the cache out or pairing rockets or deleting a lock bolt. But those issues come up so rarely that it's not really worth using Reshaper compared to the other options. Um, and then APS is kind of similar to the Reshaper, where you can use it to clear placeables on a cache box. If there's C4 and mines on a cache, you could simply place an APS near it, demat the cache down, and all that stuff will be deleted. You can also winch the cache out into an APS to delete all that stuff. It's very good at pairing rockets and glitches. Um, but you can also kind of block glitches and block bullets with goo if you're going for a steal. Like it's another case for goo where it's like you can use it for so much that it kind of does the role that many of these other gadgets do. And it also complements its current ones. Um, Basically, I'm just praising goo this whole time. Anyways, uh, that is it for this tier list. I hope it was helpful in some way. These are just ramblings of my thoughts through the specializations, gadgets, and the weapons. I do plan to make another video when I hit a sub goal, and it's going to have edits. It's going to be a guide on DMAT. Hopefully this is insightful. I appreciate you watching. Goodbye.